All right, everyone, welcome back to Inspire to Thrive Empowerment Summit. And of course, you know I got another expert for you. And this girl is amazing. This is Aleise K. I like to say people's names, right? And she is a boss money coach. And we all know that we need money coaches no matter what level of income you have. You need to know what's coming in and what's going out. So, this is why I wanted to bring her on to help you guys really balance your finances. So I'm going to throw it over to her so she could introduce herself.
Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you, Melissa, for reaching out and having me on here. She did a pretty good introduction of me. My name is Aleise, Aleise K. I am a money coach or finance coach, whichever you prefer to use. They're interchangeable. Um, I've been doing this for a little over a year now, like officially. But I used to do it when I was in college, just with friends. I was that girl in college that was not your broke college student. Like I worked the maximum amount of hours you could work while in college, and I was like a really heavy saver. And all my friends, when they were like, "Oh, I'm so broke, I don't have any money," like I was always like chilling. I was like, "Well, sucks for you. I mean, I can't help you." But it was something that I learned from a young age. My dad was a really big saver and like always know why you're spending. If you really need stuff, it was like a huge, I'd literally have to have like a presentation during the holidays for why I wanted a gift that was over like $200, right? Like it really, like I really had to understand what the value of money was from a young age. And so growing up, like, when I graduated from college, I started to be, I got more exposed to like big girl bills. I got my first apartment. I had my first big girl job. My student loans were now going to start up. And it really kick started me into gear because I was like, wow, like this is serious. And I know that if I was struggling, I know that a lot of people are struggling because I was pretty good with money and I still am, but it's not something that's like always easy, right? And there's so much that people don't know. Like we're not taught in school how to be really good with our money. We're
Yeah.
not. It's not like not in high school, not in college. Like college doesn't teach you that, which blows my mind. And I know about it because I grew up knowing about it. And I've just kind of increased my knowledge from then, from reading books and all that stuff. And it was just something that became a part of me. And I became very passionate about wanting other people to be aware and have access to the knowledge that I do, because it's out there for everybody, but we're not going to look for something that we don't know is there. So I just kind of created for myself that platform so I could be that voice to other young millennials or even older people. Some older people don't even know some of the stuff that I teach, and it's mind blowing. So I'm just happy that I'm able to have a voice and be able to share the knowledge that I have to help other people with their finances as well.
Okay, right on. I absolutely dig that. And kudos to your dad. 100% kudos to your dad. Because even earlier I was thinking and I was like, this world would be so much different if they just start introducing this even to like elementary, middle school, like just like slowly in there because
Yes.
we would be more aware instead of
Hmm.
like when we get money, that's the first thing we do is like, oh, we have money now. We can just spend, spend, spend. And a lot of people think like that when they don't have that kind of background of like, this is what you should do with your money. Check yourself before you throw it out there.
Yeah, exactly.
So that is absolutely awesome, and I'm sure you've helped so many people, and you are going to continue helping even more people. Um, and one thing, like as I was doing my research on you, I noticed that you said that when it comes to finances, you have to have your mindset kind of go along with that. So I would love for you to touch on that.
Oh man, yeah, that's like the biggest piece. When I first started this journey, like coaching wise, I was a huge mindset junkie. Like I really had to deep dive into that because I had never learned about any of that stuff before. And I never realized how much that tied into the habits that I have. So your mindset, oh my goodness, I can't even stress how important it is when you're trying to achieve like any type of success, really, especially financial success. Because, for example, let's say you're trying to save up $1,000, right? Your goal is to save $1,000. That's what you have in your mind, right? Now, where is your mindset at when it comes to your money currently, right? So if your goal is to save $1,000, right, but all your subconscious mind knows is that as soon as you get money, you spend it. How do you expect to just, oh, you know what? I'm going to make a goal to save $1,000. How do you expect your mind to just automatically know, oh, she wants to save $1,000 if you haven't been practicing that from the jump, right? And a lot of people don't understand that. And you have to think about example, a really good example is when lottery winners win the lottery
Mhm.
and they have all this money, but they're broke in a few years, right? It makes you realize that it's not just money that's going to save you. Like, it's not just money that's going to bring you wealth. It is your mindset tied along with the habits that you build, right? In order to build good habits, your mindset has to be in a place where you have the discipline to form those habits, right? And financial success, like building up savings, retiring, having that financial discipline starts in your mind. It starts up in your head. So you have to basically develop your mind to a place where, okay, where is my mindset currently? Are the habits that I'm currently practicing a reflection of the goals that I want to have? If they're not, evaluate where is my mindset right now? Like, what do I need to improve on up here in my mind that will get me jump starting on these habits so that way I can actually achieve the goals that I have? So it starts in your mind. It starts there before anything. You have to claim, who am I going to be? Like, what's my identity going to be before I can even start to work on these goals or save the $1,000? Because if you're not there in your mind, you're not going to do it. It's not going to happen because your subconscious doesn't know anything else other than who you've been this entire time. And if you have not been a person that's been saving or that is capable of saving $1,000, it's not just going to magically happen
Mhm.
until you prep your mind to build those habits. So yeah, your mind is like the key. Like, that millionaires talk about, I used to watch and read a lot of books on like millionaires, and it starts up here. They all talk about it. It starts up in your mind and your habits and all those things. It's not just something that happens right away. And it's not just, oh, let me give you $1,000,000 and that's gonna like make you successful. It doesn't. Like, just like people go broke every day, millionaires go broke. Like, they do,
Yep.
because their habits weren't in the right place to begin with. So yeah, that's, I don't know if I missed anything. If I missed anything, let me know. But
No, you're
yeah,
good. Even part of it, I got chills. I was like, yes, 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 yes. Because I believe that mindset, any aspect that you put it into your life, it's so beneficial and it can take you to that next step that you have to get to. And as that example, as you said, like you have to kind of get to the point where you're just like, this is what I want to do and what do I need to shift in my life. And I use that example for people because throughout my life I have been a traveler and I would get questions like, how can you travel? And I'm like, because I save my money and because I take into consideration what I need and what I do not need so that I can use that money and get to the places where I want to get to. So yes, yes, and yes to all of that. Okay, so then now, kind of once you're able to get that mindset into perspective, what would you say would be the next best tip to kind of start saving or like, yeah, to start saving or kind of start saving?
yeah. So once you get your mindset in the right place, you want to have a goal.
Mhm.
And a lot of people don't realize, like, they tie hand in hand. Like, you really can't have a goal without the right mindset, and you can't just have a good mindset but nothing that you're going after.
Mhm.
So set a tangible goal for yourself, like something that you can actually like work towards. Okay, so if if you've never saved before, like, you have a bad habit, like, don't be like, oh, you know what, I'm going to save $5,000 in like 6 months or something. Like, know yourself,
Mhm.
like, start small. Like, start, if you're not saving, like, start with like, oh, I'm going to save $100 this month or in 2 months, right? Do something that you know that you'll be able to do so that way you can achieve those quick wins, because those quick wins are what are going to keep you going. They're what's going to keep encouraging you and make you realize, wow, like, I'm capable of doing this. So I'm going to keep going because I like the way this is making me feel. So a lot of times we get too excited about things when we get our mindset right, like kind of like New Year's resolutions, right? We're
Yeah.
like, oh, it's January 1st. I'm going to go to the gym 5 days a week when you haven't been going to the gym at all. Right. Like, I'm going to go to the gym every single day, this and that. And then you get discouraged after you miss a couple days. Right. And then before you know it, you're not going at all because you basically disappointed yourself and convinced yourself, oh, well, I didn't do what I said I was going to do anyway, so I'm just not going to go. And with money, it's very easy to get into that mindset. Oh, you know what? I hadn't been saving this whole time anyway, or I had to dip into my savings this time anyway, so what's the point? Right? So allow yourself to have those quick wins, and also be kind to yourself as you're on this journey to reach your financial goals, because roadblocks are going to come up. Like, I've been practicing money and doing all the right things for years, and it's still hard for me. Like, I still slip up, right? But I have to be kind to myself and realize mistakes happen. Like, things are going to happen, things are going to come up. But am I going to let that bring me 5 steps back, or am I just going to keep propelling myself forward? So set the goal is the next step, something that you know that you can achieve, so you can achieve those quick wins, and just be kind to yourself on the process as you're continuing to reach those goals. And as you achieve your small wins, build higher, right? Build higher and higher as you build that momentum. So yeah, I think those are the best tips I can give you.
Okay, okay. I dig all of those tips. And I think when you really said to be kind to yourself, I feel like that is such a good tip, because sometimes we get so frustrated within our habits and things that we do that we just give up, you know? And when you are able to be kind to yourself, you're able to kind of just acknowledge what's going on, and then kind of make a plan that even though this is happening, I can move forward, because we all know life happens, and you might have saved that money that you were
Mhm.
using for your goal, but life happens and it's going somewhere else. And I feel like also kind of when you get to that point and it's like, oh, well, it's all gone now, and just give up. Like, I feel like you were able to save that amount of money and you can do it again, you know? So you just have to be definitely prepared for, or you can't honestly be prepared for life, because it just happens when it wants to happen. But
Exactly.
those are all good tips to kind of throw into. So then after you're like, I have my goal, I want to save, there are some people that are like, have multiple savings, like out of sight, out of mind. How do you feel, or what do you recommend an individual kind of like the checking account, the saving account, like another account, or how would you kind of set that up?
So honestly, this is different for everybody. I was that person that had multiple savings account just to have them. And then I realized it wasn't really getting me anywhere to do that. But if you have multiple savings accounts with like specific purposes, like let's say like you don't want to have your emergency fund tied in with your vacation savings. You know what I mean? Like you want to have an account that's for like your short-term savings. Like let's say you have your checking account and then you have your savings account that's connected to it. Make that savings account like your buffer account. Like if something happens and you have to like switch over or something like that. Like I usually make the ones that are connected to my checking account, they're usually like my short-term savings. Like if something happens, that's there, whatever. But my long-term savings I usually have in high interest, like high yield savings accounts. So whether you're doing Wealthfront is a high yield savings account, SoFi, American Express has one, any of those that are like free, no fee high yield savings accounts, I would use more that realm for like your long term, like maybe like your emergency fund. That's your those accounts, basically those savings accounts that are going to have more money in it, right? Like they have your higher goals, like your longer term in a high yield savings account. And then you have, your really, really long term, like 10 years plus, you might want to keep that in like a CD or something. But savings accounts, they can vary based on what your goals are, because some people's savings goals are different from others. Like some people, they're not looking to do much. Maybe they don't go on vacation, like they don't care about that stuff, so they might just have a short term and just a high yield with their emergency fund, and that's what they have as far as like liquid savings that they have access to right away. But checking accounts, I am a multiple checking account girl,
Okay.
because it's the easiest way for me to control my spending,
Mhm.
Like I have a checking account that's specifically like for like my rent and utilities that like a certain amount goes into every time I get paid. And like I don't have to worry about that account because I don't spend out of that unless it's for like my bills and my rent. And I have a checking account that I have for my fun money that I allow myself to like spend on whatever I want, and then I have savings. So it's really dependent on, know yourself. Some people hate the multiple checking account idea, but if you know that you have a problem like budgeting and like keeping track of like your spending, having those separate accounts kind of gives you like a cap. Like I have my fun money account, and when it's at $0, it's at $0. Like I can't spend anymore until I get paid again. So that just works for me because it provides me the discipline that I need to, okay, I've already reached my limit. That's that. So it's dependent. Everyone's goals are different. Some people like the multiple checking accounts. I really like it. Have it separate for like bills and like your fun money and different having checking accounts with actual purposes. If you have purposes behind each of your accounts, you can really have as much as you want if there's a purpose behind them. If you just have them to have them and you're not really like keeping track of them, really evaluate if it's actually helping you.
Okay, okay. I like that. I just have like my checking and my savings, but I never thought about like separating it from like the bills and like, life fun. Yeah. So that's a good one. That's a good one because like when it's over, it's over.
Yeah.
And that will definitely keep you from spending. So that's a really good recommendation for anyone that is having that bridge when they just can't stop. So good on that. Good on that. And then when it comes to like getting paid and saving, do you feel like there's a percentage of your check that you should kind of like try to save or?
I feel like, yes, of course there is like, I think they recommend like 10 to 20%, but it really depends on what your financial situation is currently. Like if you're in like tons and tons of debt, you shouldn't be putting like huge chunks of your check into savings and your debt is just accumulating from interest. Like for me, like my focus currently, like I'm trying to pay off all my debts. Like I have student loans and all, like I'm trying to like pay all that off. So I have savings with like basic emergency, like, oh, like, okay, if something happens, like I'm good there. But I haven't been adding to that because my goal right now is focused on paying off debt. But I do have savings. I would always recommend like you have like some cushion of savings, whether it's like a few $1,000s. If you can only muster up 1,000, like that's fine too. $1,000 is usually enough to help with most stuff, if something happens. Um, but if your goal is paying off debt, like pay off your debt, like save a little so you have like a cushion there, but focus on your debt, like pay all that stuff off, and your savings will still be there when the debt is paid off, right? If you don't have any debt, like save, if you can save that 20%, save that 20% and invest in your retirement. If you have like that option, like at your job, like if you have a 401k, put more into your 401k. Like once you have like that emergency fund of like 3 months of expenses, you can start putting the majority of that savings into your retirement because your 3 months of expenses, like you're Gucci. Like you probably don't need to touch it unless you're like saving for something specific, like a vacation that's coming up, then you can save for that. But if you don't have debt and you have your emergency fund, like go towards your retirement. So if you're just starting, save up for your $1,000, however much of your income that you can afford. Like if you work out your budget and you can't afford 20% to put into savings, then you can't afford to put 20% to savings. Like that's just how it is. Like we want to put a number on a lot of things, but everyone's financial situation is different. Like not everyone has as much disposable income as somebody else. So once you do your budget out, list out what your expenses are and what you have left, then decide, what is available for you to save, like what is working best for you, what will be the smartest decision for you to start saving. Like are you going to be starving because you've saved 20% of your income, now you don't have any money for groceries? No, like you don't want to do that. So it's really just based on what your income is, what your expenses are, and what you can afford to save. So 20% I think is the recommended, but if you can't afford that, the best you can, really.
Okay. No, that's good. That definitely is. You definitely should just do the best you can, to even kind of take down any stress level that you have on like, oh, I have to save this.
Yeah.
It just pushes you away from it. And then since you did touch on the 401k, um, How would you compare that to like going the IRA kind of transition method?
So the IRA, basically, if you don't know what either of those things are, a 401k is a retirement account that is funded and offered through your employer. So if you work at like a corporate institution and they offer a retirement plan, it's most likely a 401k plan or a Roth 401k. Either way, the 401k itself is through an employer. An IRA is an individual retirement arrangement that you can open up at like any financial institution. You can open one up for yourself. But 401ks, I feel like are amazing. And if you have access to a 401k like through your job, I would highly recommend you invest in it simply because most companies offer like a company match or something. Like my job offers a, um, I believe it's like 5% match of the first 5% that you're investing. So I'm getting 10%. If I'm investing 5%, I'm really getting 10%, and 5% of that is free money, right? So if you have a company match at your job, whatever the match is, you should be investing at least to that match so you can get the free money, because that's extra money that you're not even putting in for. Like you don't even have to like worry about it, right? So if you have access to that and that's an option for you, totally recommend the 401k plan. I think it's great. An IRA, a lot of people do that as well if maybe their job doesn't offer 401k, or maybe they're an entrepreneur and they don't have access to that. So they'll open up their own IRA and they'll invest in that. That's just more, it's really just more personal, I guess. Like you have more control over it because it's fully funded by you, whereas your 401k part of it is funded by your employer if they have a match, and it might automatically come out of your check if you are contributing to that way. Your IRA is more like it's up to you. Like you decide how much you want to put in and when to put in. And I don't remember exactly what the amounts are, but I think there is like a yearly max that you can put into your 401k. So those people that max out their 401ks like regularly, like every year, they probably have an IRA that they're putting into as well for when they max out their 401k.
Ah, okay, okay, okay. Definitely understood on that. And then I wanted to kind of get your idea on credit cards when it comes to credit cards. Do you feel, because I know there are an abundance of people that have a lot of credit cards, do you feel like you should
Mhm.
just have like a couple credit cards, or what's your take on that?
So honestly, like I am your money coach that has struggled with credit cards.
Mhm,
So I am now in a place where I don't really use them
mhm,
at all. Like I'm a debit card girl, but that's simply because like I just got to a point where I was just swiping. Like I was just like doing stuff. Like I just, and like when I was in college, everything was fine. Like I would pay it off every month, but then, you know, as you start making more money, you get more risky because you're like, oh, I can just pay this off. Like it's fine. And before you know it, things are building up. And so I was like, you know what? This is a weakness for me. So I'm going to stop using them. And so that was just my personal preference. Like I still have them for like if there's like an emergency or something like that, but I'm not against it. I feel like people have their own reasons for why they use them. It's just, do you actually know how to be responsible with it? Is it actually helping you get further along on your financial goals? For me, it really wasn't. I was using it, and sometimes I didn't even have to use it. I just didn't feel like seeing the money come out of my account,
mhm.
and sometimes that's just what it is. Like, I don't really want to see this come out of my account, so I'm just going to use the credit card. And it's not a good reason. It's really not. And then, if you have a high interest card and it just like builds up, before you know it, a lot of people get themselves into situations that they're spending years to dig themselves out of. So it's just know yourself. I'm not 100% against them because I know a lot of people that use credit cards and they pay them off every month and it's fine. They use it because that's what they're used to. They use it in budget, they use it responsibly, but the majority of people don't. So I really just say, like, if you know it's your weakness, like, cut it out. If you know that you're struggling with it and you're like in debt and you just keep building on it, you need to work on paying off that debt and stopping the credit cards altogether. But again, it's just knowing yourself. I mean, I don't feel like they're 100% necessary, and I'm learning more. Like, if you have an emergency fund, you don't really need to swipe your credit card because you can just use cash for it.
Yeah.
So it's not 100% necessary anymore. once you become more aware of your financial situation and where you're at. But everybody's different. Some people really like it. They like the cash back rewards and all that stuff, and that's fine. But it might get you in a trap. That's all. So,
No, that's good. That's good. It's like just pretty much know where you at, know if it's like a weakness for you, and you know that it's not going to be beneficial for you at all. So I definitely like the way you kind of just broke that down for it. And then my last question for you today is, so we're at a point where our mindset's amazing. We're ready to budget. Would you recommend kind of starting like a spreadsheet, or how would you recommend to kind of like start breaking it down into steps?
honestly, yeah, I feel like everything you've asked is literally dependent on who the person is. Because some people, like I personally, I don't like Excel spreadsheets. Like I was always a paper and like pencil. I don't know why that was easier for me, but it was. And I know a lot of people, like a lot of people I've worked with, they prefer that like paper and pencil. And I had another client, she literally loved her Excel sheet. She was always in her Excel sheet, like putting in stuff. So, and then there are also like these days, you can literally find an app on your phone that can help you budget for you. Like literally you put in every like expense and it'll literally do it for you. Like some of them will even connect to your debit card and it's like automatically like separated out for you. So if, and especially for beginners, like I would recommend writing it out on paper first, just because they say when you write things down, it makes it like more real for you.
Mhm.
And like you're just, I don't know why, but it really like kind of opened my eyes when I like wrote it all down and saw everything. And I was like, cool. Like just to see like how everything looked and where I was at. And then you can decide from there if, okay, I'd rather put this all in Excel or I'd rather put this all in an app. Like it's completely up to you. Like your budget is really just a list of your expenses. Like that's all it is, a list of your income and all your expenses. So however you choose to do that, it's up to you. If you want to do paper and pencil, if you want to use one of the Excel templates, there's a million that you can pick from. And there's also a bunch of apps now that you can easily do it. So the options are endless on how you choose to budget. It's just based on what's most comfortable for you.
Okay, okay. I am a paper and pencil girl. That is me too. I like just seeing it and writing it out.
Yeah.
I do spreadsheets for some sort of it, but I feel more connected to my paper and
Yeah.
pencil. So I agree with that as well. Well, of course, I appreciate every single piece of information that you've given us. And then I want to ask you, do you feel like there's any other tips that you want to throw out there just to kind of empower someone that's in the process of learning all this good finance stuff?
Let's see. Um, I think it's very important for people to remember to not compare themselves. Like, do not let comparison like overcome like how you're feeling about your financial situation and your journey towards reaching your financial goals, because your journey is not going to be the same as the next person. Like somebody your age might be debt free. Like I know people that are debt free because, and I know a lot of people that are making a lot of money, like more money than me and this and that. And I cannot compare my financial journey and my situation to them. Like it'll eat me alive, like, so just try to stay in your own lane, right? Really evaluate where you are financially, where you want to go, and what's possible for you. Don't compare yourself to the next person because, I mean, maybe it'll like, give you some motivation, but most of the time it, so just kind of evaluate yourself, stay in your own lane, mind your own business, it'll keep you humble and it'll keep you on track for where you need to be. If you're stop worrying about what other people are doing with their money and how things are going with them.
Okay, okay, I dig that. And usually I ask at the end of my interviews, I ask like, what is your piece of advice to empower someone to go kind of extend into their financial like bliss? But what you just gave was the best. So you did it before I even asked you.
Yeah, I think that fits very well. Comparison can fit everywhere. When you don't
Yeah.
compare, I feel like I feel like comparison literally just takes all the power that you had originally. Like you could have been feeling so empowered and then you see something, you compare yourself and all of a sudden you're back like down low to where you were. So yeah, not comparing, very empowering when you don't compare yourself to people.
Yes, in all aspects of your life. Truly, truly, truly.
Yes.
Um, thank you for taking the time to just kind of hang out with us and give us some like money truth bombs.
Yes,
I
no
appreciate
problem.
you. I appreciate your time. And guys, there's more experts coming up. So stay with us. And also, if they want to find you, work with you, where can they get to you at?
So you can get to me on Instagram at Aleise K, AleiseKay. And you can also find me email. I have a website, but email and Instagram is like the easiest way to get to me. And my Instagram is literally Lise. So literally my first name, just minus the A, dot K@gmail.com. So those are the ways that you can reach me. And yeah.
Okay, perfect. And of course, I will put those links in her bio page so you can find all of that. And then, as well, if they wanted to work with you, what programs do you offer?
So I have one-on-one coaching offers. I also do I'm also hosting my first master class in a couple weeks, but don't worry, by the time this comes out, I'm sure I will be planning another one. So I do master classes on different subjects. Like this time I'm doing one on money and relationships, which seems to be a hot topic. And I also do one-on-one coaching. Like that's like something that's like always open, just dependent on if I'm open for clients. So
Okay, perfect, perfect. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I did see your masterclass and how you said that your partner is the spender and you're the saver. I did,
yeah.
I did see that, and I totally connected with that. I was like, "Yep."
No, yeah, he's changing though. Like we were actually talking last night. He was getting a little strict on how I was spending. I was like, babe, are we switching roles? Are we wow. So I don't know. He might be switching over.
You're like, "What did I create?"
Yeah. I was like, oh.
Okay, okay, right on. So once again, thank you so much. And I know that we will be in contact. So I will talk to you soon.
Yes.
Thank
No
you.
problem. This was amazing. Have a good evening, Melissa.
Thank you, thank you.